2 a.m. That's a normal work schedule.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a double review. Ty Segall and White Fence, Hair, and Ty Segall band, Slaughterhouse. Gall, C, Ty, Gall, 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 Gall. Ty Segall is a California garage rock artist. He blew up several years ago back when the sounds of lo-fi rock recordings and garage punk were the hottest sounds that the blogosphere had to offer. And at the time I was heavy into J-Retard, I was heavy into Black Lips, but I never really fell too hard for what Ty Segall was doing. For the most part, it was garage punk with a subtle psych rock influence. He had some really chaotic production too, just so friggin' noisy. And he just fronted his songs with these very over-the-top vocals recorded with just this very, very brittle, sharp, bouncy echo. It kind of reminded me of the OCs a bit at the time, and though I didn't really hate it, it just didn't click with me. Though I do admire the energy that he put into a lot of his tracks. He is just a one-man powerhouse. He really just kind of cuts his stomach open and dumps his guts all over some of his tracks, especially on his 2008 self-titled LP, which was really just kind of an experiment in high volumes and just raw guitar drum simplicity. Ever since this LP, I think Ty Segall has kind of gone back and reverted a bit to his previous LP, Horn the Unicorn, where there was a bit more variety, a bit more detail to some of the songs. Not every one of them was so loud and noisy and hard-hitting. But even though I think Ty Segall is being a little easier on the ears these days with some of his solo stuff, and, you know, adding more detail and whatnot, he still manages to keep it rough around the edges, very fun, and very freakish. At this point, Ty Segall has over 5 albums under his belt, and, you know, even though his fans kind of come to expect a certain thing from him, he never quite likes to deliver it in the same exact way. While he's always wallowing in the world of garage rock with a lo-fi twist, to me his albums just are this never-ending exploration of ways to make the sounds of psychedelic rock, garage rock, and punk just noisier, weirder, more unsettling, wild, and sweaty. But even though a lot of Ty's music is just rife with this experimentation, he never really loses sight of having a good time. When it comes to this style of music, though it is not as hot now as it was a few years ago, on the whole, I feel like he's one of the few people out there at this moment who are still bringing some surprises. He's really kind of carrying the torch for this kind of stuff now. He's at the forefront of the pack with this sound, and he's pushed himself there this year with 2 new releases, a collaboration with White Fence and a new album with his Ty Segall band, the first time he's releasing an album under that title. Now, in regards to the collaboration with White Fence, Ty Segall and White Fence are cut from roughly the same lo-fi cloth, with some noticeable differences. The last few White Fence records, even though rock does influence this guy, they really kind of left me feeling like he is so much more of a sound experimentalist than a guy who really wants to kind of pound out a rock song that's going to get fists pumping, just bodies jumping out of windows and stage diving and all that good fun time, happy good stuff. And kind of in theory, I could see this collaboration working out really one way. Ty brings the badass guitar riffs, brings the energy, White Fence brings the eccentricity, the color, a little bit of weirdness, and in the end you kind of get a group of very colorful, detailed, oddball garage rock tunes with a psychedelic edge that have got a lot of energy and force behind them. And I would say, fantasy achieved. Though this LP is short, it makes up for it with a lot of highlights. The track I Am a Game has this really kind of kooky keyboard on it. It's a really just tough, intense, driving garage rock tune with a very slow, heavy psych rock breakdown. And I love how they transition from point A to point B. Lots of grace, interplay. There are even more psychedelic elements on the track, the Black Glove / Rag, which has some just classic rock gold in the drum fills and the interjecting wailing guitar leads just popping in here and there. And the lo-fi feel on the track actually kind of turns the song a little bit into somewhat of a 60s throwback. The song is catchy and the vocals on the track just have this really kind of lethargic, weird quality to them that really makes this very tried and true sound feel mutated and kind of uncomfortable in a memorable and somewhat enjoyable way. But if you want to talk about something being mutated, listen to the song Crybaby, which sounds like a more muscular version of the riff from the Beatles song The Ballad of John and Yoko. The song just has everything so freaking loud, claustrophobic, close to the mic. It sounds like a bunch of practice amps with 3 stomp distortion boxes just turned all the way up, playing at once, and I don't know, it's being performed within my skull, and it's throbbing. Plus the song has this badass 50s R&B style boogie woogie piano solo. The solo really kind of sounds like it's on cocaine and just really kind of hops in and brings the song to an entirely different level. The song Scissor People has such hard-hitting guitars, really the noisiest track on here, and I love how they start playing with the left and right channels with some of the guitar distortion on that track. And the last song on here has a great groove, and as Ty and White Fence bring the song closer to the finish line, it appears more and more kind of like a jam session. You know, this collaboration has a lot of kind of 60s kitsch to it, but some colorful eccentricities get added along the way. Of course, that awesome Ty Segall garage punk energy is thrown into the equation too. Just a short, sweet, garagey, and psychedelic freak out. A really infectious energy behind Hair. I feel like the lazy, kind of laid-back, lethargic vocals do strip a few songs of their personality, especially the first and the third track. The melodies on those songs don't feel that strong, so I wish the vocals kind of came out and just brought more emotion, but otherwise, this is just a really great, fantastic listen, feeling a light 8 on this thing. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Etc. Next review, Ty Segall Band, Slaughterhouse. This thing is a different animal. Emphasis on animal. Big claws, ripping your face apart, eating you as you are alive. It's gruesome. This thing of these two reviews is The Bruiser. Now, of course, this is the first record that Ty is dropping under the Ty Segall Band name, but this is not the first time Ty has been in a band. The Perverts, Sick Alps, The Traditional Fools, Party Foul. But despite all this experience of previous bands and previous Ty Segall records, Ty really kind of takes the sounds he's been evolving on his past few albums and really kind of goes extreme with them, brings them to a new level. This album, in a way, I actually kind of see Ty taking the badassness of his self-titled album a handful of years ago, but actually kind of translating into a full band context. And Ty brings on people he's comfortable working with, like Mikael Cronin, to kind of get the job done. Now, even though this thing is not a metal album, it's about as close you're gonna get on a garage rock LP. Lots of wailing guitar leads, just heavy, distorted, tough as nails riffs, and just a really forceful energy behind these tracks. There's a really live feel to this album that I love. You'll sometimes hear Ty talking before or after songs, really counting some of these songs off. And even though there are some moments where you might catch a bass flub or maybe a drum hit is slightly off or something like that, the energy is just something else. Tracks 7 through 10 on this album are some of the shortest on this LP, and they kind of blitzkrieg their way to the finish line of this album, just throwing out one hard-hitting riff after another, even though this is just really kind of Words cannot be said for how hyped up these songs are. I do feel like Ty Segall loses a little bit of flavor in some of these tracks when he just sort of takes off without adding a detail, but some of the longer songs on here definitely kind of balance that out and are just as badass. The opening track, Death, feels just like that. Although the vocals are not that hard hitting, I wish they were a little more abrasive. I'm just nothing but noises tonight. The guitar distortion and feedback on that song is just heavy. The song I Bought My Eyes just has these tough, distorted chords that are just ripping my skull open, and it's so grindy, I love it. And I love the guitar leads on that track too, when they get all harmonized and just so colorful. It's a nice contrast. And even though Ty Segall is getting really kind of hard and heavy on this album, there are some subtle, psychedelic, sort of pretty melodic, well-written elements to the song, some details. You know what I'm saying. For example, the descending chord progression on the song Wave Goodbye definitely reminds me of something pulled from the Beatles playbook. And the song What's Inside Your Heart, the vocals on that track even sound like a Beatles-esque vocal harmony, just singing over this very hellish riff. It's kind of just one solid tune after another, and it all kind of finishes with this 10-minute drone noise guitar feedback piece that, let me add, this album would be as short as Hair if it were not for this song. The title is appropriately Fuzz War, and though it is not one of my favorite parts on the album, it definitely has a nice cacophony to it and kind of highlights how noisy and distorted and abrasive Ty is trying to be with this album. Especially on the song Diddy Wah Diddy, has the most insane vocals on this entire album, just screaming, bloody screaming. There's not much more I can say other than I think Ty has pulled together two of the better, easily, garage rock albums of this year with the White Fence collaboration and Slaughterhouse. While it still kind of bugs me on this Slaughterhouse album that Ty obscures his vocals a little bit more than I would like him to on some tracks, especially Death, I do think he is writing some solid tunes. There is some great musicianship and interplay between him and the Ty Segall band on this album. Really tight. You know, it's great to hear a band that can just be so kind of off the cuff and it sounds great. So yeah, I'm feeling a light to decent 8 on this LP. What did you guys think of this and Hair? Did you love them? Hate them? Why? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Ty Segall, forever.